Hello everyone. Welcome to stream. Hang on, I just realized I forgot to check my mic. Okay, we're good. Hello everyone, welcome to stream. Do I sound okay? Hi Oz. Do I sound okay? Does the music sound okay? You need me to turn it up or anything? Hello everyone. Hi, hello. Welcome to stream. Like stream says, the ritual's commencing. True. I sound fine? Alright. No music is heard? Do you need me to turn up the music a little bit? Is that a little bit better? I'm speaking, yeah. Sound good? Okay. Okay. Brilliant. Hello, welcome in everyone. Welcome to stream. Like the stream says, we are going to be going over centaurs today. Centaur anatomy, centaurs in general. So we are going to be going over that. We are going to be focusing on the skeletal structure rather than like other internals, because the skeleton is it's the easiest one to cover. I don't want to cover the muscles just yet, if at all, just because I don't really have I'm not very familiar with them. So here's about the last centaur you draw short. So we'll be talking a bit about that. The cool thing about like going over the skeleton is that with most other mammals, it'll be exactly the same. So if you understand the horse skeleton, it'll be pretty well the same for cats and dogs and deer and all that fun jazz. So we're gonna be going over that and how to connect those. But yes, this is what we will be doing today. But yeah. Oh, I'm seeing organs. We're not going to be going over organs. Not at all. It's not important. We're not covering anything that is not important. But also apologies if I sound kind of sick. It's because I am. I have allergies. But this is what we're doing. But alright! Before we get going though, oh, I totally forgot to. This is so scuffed. I'm so sorry. Before we get going though, you guys know the drill, because if you didn't know, our growing community is filled with tons of art nerds, and we art nerds have to stick together. So if you're an art nerd too, be sure to check out the links to our social media in the description below, and check out our website for our class offerings where you can get critique, guidance, and encouragement from our instructors, because we're not just a YouTube channel, we are an art school too. So if you'd like to support us so we can keep making free content, consider supporting us by becoming a YouTube member for exclusive channel perks like emotes and sub badges, or by supporting us on Patreon for as little as $2 per month, where you can get access to tons of perks like my working files, critique sessions, class recordings, and a huge discount on our classes that have a limited amount of spots, so be sure to check those out before they are gone. Alright. Okay. So that's what we are... Alright, so that section is done. What we have next, though, is the submissions! Art submissions for the week. I was actually able to put subtitles on them for the people who don't put their signature on the submissions. Allergies, I can so relate. Yeah, no, I cleaned a little, and I also went to a fabric store because I needed to get fabric for my costume for Halloween, and the fabric store is always so dusty, so it's like omega annoying. But yes, we are going to be going over the art submissions first. This one was by Alex D. I'm always a big fan of reptiles and long whip-like bodies. I've always been like, whenever I draw dragons or whenever I draw like serpents, I love making them super long and thin and coily. And this one's really fun. Oh, this is also the last week where we will be doing monster submissions. From this point forward, there will be a different theme for the art submissions. So this is the last week of monsters. And this is beautiful. Really nice work. Really nice work rendering this with traditional mediums. Really well done. Love the look of this. I also love like a really bold outline that kind of highlights the silhouette. It makes the silhouette look a lot more interesting and strong. And I think that that's a really cool effect. I used to do that a lot more. I don't really do it as much anymore. This one is by Galaxy. They said they were trying something new. Always a big fan of multiple maxilla. I love when there's multiple rows of teeth. That's always a really fun little addition that you can add to a character. And I think this is really fun. I think you did a good job, especially if I haven't done this before. I like that they're kind of like reaching through, trying to grab at you, and I think that's really cool. Very fun. This next one is by Kevin. This is beautifully rendered. That face is beautiful. The composition's really nice. You have this really beautiful, hazy looking illustration, and I think it's the effect is so well done, and like it's I can't zoom in on it so you can't see all of it, but this is gorgeous. It's so well done. I love glows. And I love that, like, it's not exclusively just that green. You also add that little bit of red in there, a little bit of reddish orange, and it gives it, like, a nice pop. Because really, if you only had that green, the entire piece would be very green and blue. This is a tetradic color scheme. And I think that, like, by adding that little orange in the back and then, like, this reddish orange glow, you've made it just this way more holistic. It's beautiful. Beautiful stuff. This piece by Monomori, again, big fan of bones. Always like bones. I love spines. I love antlers. What a gorgeous piece. I love this composition. I think this creature's really fun as well, like almost like a forest guardian. I think they're really gorgeous. Really well done. Really good stuff. I think there's only 5 this time around. This one is by Scribbling Joe. Love me a good scarecrow. So this is a really nice 3-point perspective as well. Like going from bottom up and you looking up at this character is a really nice sketching style. This is a really fun piece. I'm always a fan of these kind of, oh, this is kind of loud. It's a nice scarecrow sketch. I was literally gonna say awesome. I didn't want to make the joke. Yeah, beautiful stuff. This is a really nice piece. Always a fan of the kind of more loose, blunt style by comparison to something really smooth. I'm a very smooth artist, but this is like really nice stuff. But all right, I believe that's all. Yes. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted. Next week we'll be going over a completely different set of themes. So everything will be completely different. Because this month was monsters, Daria will be releasing what the next month's theme is in the Discord, so keep an eye out for that. Who makes my character's mouth move? It's a PNG tuber. This is software. It tracks my microphone. But yes, alright. So today, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be going over Centaur anatomy, so I kind of have a couple things prepped, because if you wanna kind of, you know, what's it called? If you want to understand how to draw what's on top, you're going to have to understand what's underneath as well. So I think that that's always a good thing to go over. So first we're going to go over the skeletons. Let me just get rid of this for a second. Can't wait to see how you manage to make Centaur anatomy not silly. We're going to go over the axial skeletons. That's going to be fun. The axial and appendicular. We're going to be going over both. I never watched Centaur World. I knew a few people who really wanted to, who were really into Centaur World. Horses have bones. They're vertebrae. Oops. How long's that spine? You'll see. Set of bones. Horses are held together by glue. Oh no. Unintentionally topical. Oops. We have too many ribs. We only have 24. Yes, it will be saved afterwards. Sorry if I'm kind of like nonverbal for a second. I'm just trying to write. All right. Let me save this really quick. Is that a Vegeta profile picture? Nice. I only know anything about Dragon Ball because of my partner. All right. So in order to understand how to connect a human to a horse, I didn't write a human. I should have written that, a human. We'll need to understand how we normally connect. Right, so in order to understand how to connect a human to a horse, we need to understand how we normally connect, right? So we need to understand how we, let me turn my music down a little bit actually, because it's getting kind of loud. We need to understand how we as people normally connect together, right? Like we need to understand our skeletons. So, let's talk about the human skeleton for a moment. I'm gonna go over a couple of things that are kind of necessary to understand. So, up here at the top, we have this little funky thing, right? We know it as the collarbone. You can definitely touch the collarbone. So if you kind of touch right in front of your neck, and then like those hard sections of like the upper top of your torso, like your, like around your neck, that you'll feel your collarbone, right? So that's where this starts. The collarbone connects to your shoulder bones, which are also called your scapula. And your scapula will connect to your collarbones by the, oh my god, it's the acromion process, right? Process? Yes, so the acromion process will connect to your collarbone, and that is where the top of your shoulder is. So this whole section, if I was to draw it separately, we have our collarbones that kind of like this. They connect to the sternum right here. And then wrap around. And there's a bone here. The acromion process is right here. You can feel the acromion process. If you touch the top of your shoulder, you feel something hard. Kind of like, you know when like you kind of have like this, the top of your shoulder, it's really hard, just at like a single point. That's your acromion process. Your acromion process is right there. It will connect to your scapula, which is part of the scapular spine. This is called the shoulder girdle. The shoulder girdle is what supports your arms, and their movement. Which is the scapula, acromion process, and your clavicle. Tune out of these names and just memorize the shapes like I've always done in school. That's how I always did it as well. I feel like I've grown to love anatomy, like I've grown to love the names of bones and stuff like that. I also have an exam on Monday, so I am trying to memorize this. Alright. So the shoulder girdle is what supports the arms and their movement. Oops. And then connected to all that as well is our rib cage. Don't need to go over the ribs too much. And this is our vertebrae, or our spine. Which has 4 parts. So there's 4 parts of our spine that we need to go over, right? The main ones. 4? 3. We only need 3. We're only going to go over 3 parts of our vertebrae. So, we're going to go over the one that's on the neck. So our neck vertebrae is our cervical. It's our cervical vertebrae. The one that's in our chest area, our upper back, is our thoracic. And our lower back is our lumbar. Lumbar vertebrae. It's part where you memorize the bones names and feel smart. There's the part where you try and learn them, draw them, and cry. My friend, I have had to draw the bones to complete scientific accuracy for an assignment before, so I understand the pain. Had to draw all this for school a few years ago. I had to draw all this for school a few weeks ago, so I understand. I understand. Taking an anatomy course next semester, maybe rethinking that choice. No, it's good for you. It's good for you. It's great. What do you miss? You missed a bit of the bones explanation. So we talked about the shoulder girdle, the rib cage, and the vertebrae. Those are the main thing. For spooky exam, yeah, I got my exam is on Halloween, so. Alright. Haven't gotten that far in school, trying to get ahead. Valid, yeah. So scapula, the accumbens process, the clavicle, shoulder girdle. This one down here, we don't really need, so I'm not gonna, like, totally explain it. But this is called our pelvic girdle. And our pelvic girdle supports legs and their movement. What am I dressing up as? The lamb from Cult of the Lamb. Since I was drawing it for a younger grade, it didn't have to be very accurate. No, mine had to be scientifically accurate. She wanted us to, like, here, let me show you. I definitely showed it. I also sport legs, me too. I definitely showed it before, but I'll show it again. So, we had to draw a skeleton based on a pose of our choice to complete scientific accuracy and then label them. So we had to label every single part and have, like, a legend off to the side. So we had to do, like, all this. It's a little bit, if you want to know my grade, I got a 95. But we had to, it was just because I missed a couple things. But we had to, yeah, we had to sketch it out like this. The only reason I haven't shown you what the pose is, like, normally, is because it is a nude figure, so, like, obviously I can't, it's TOS, but, it's just, like, you know, it's whatever. But this was a, yeah, I got a 95. But yeah, no, this was a, it was fun, but also I was dying. My friends were on call with me while watching me illustrate this, and I felt like dying. It was great. But alright. So the pelvic girdle supports your legs and their movement, right? A couple things that we gotta go over before we move on to a horse. So when we, so the arms, arm and leg, appendicular. So arms and leg structures are the appendicular skeleton. So Chalky Milk, when I drew Chalky Milk, that was the axial skeleton. So the axial skeleton is your vertebrae, your rib cage, and your head, right? So this kind of section, this is the axial skeleton. On the contrary, we left out our arms and our legs. This is the appendicular skeleton because they are our appendages. And they have very, very similar structures. Chalky Milk Nation, so true. So they have very, very similar structures, a lot more similar than you think, right? So how both our arms and our legs are built, right, is it starts with a supportive girdle. Which goes onto a big upper bone. Two smaller bones. To our carpals. To metacarpals. To phalanges. Right? So tired today. I spent the entire day reading. That's nice. I went out to lunch with my dad first. Actually, no, my partner woke me up. And then I went out to lunch with my dad. So I called with him for a while. And then I went out with my dad for lunch. And I had veggie poutine for lunch. Most people experience chronic back pain. Woo! I am one of most people. Carpal, like the tunnel, yeah. So that's your carpal bones are what cause carpal tunnel syndrome. But yes, so all of our structures of our arms and our legs, right? It starts off with a supportive girdle. So like we mentioned, we have the shoulder girdle right up here. The big upper bone on the arm, it's the humerus. And then it goes to two smaller bones. On the arm, it is the ulna and radius. And then we have our carpals, which are those little tiny cluster of bones that make up the wrist. Our metacarpals, if you touch the palm of your hand, the palm of your hand has your metacarpals. So if you see like a skeletal hand, like you have that big cluster of bones down here, and then you have your metacarpals, which are the big bones right here, and then your phalanges, which are your fingers. Feet and our legs are the exact same way. So we have the pelvic girdle, which is our girdle, the supportive girdle. We have the big upper bone, the femur, two smaller bones, so the fibula and the tibia. Fibula and tibia. The tibia is the smaller one, the fibula is the bigger one. No, that's not right. The fibula is the smaller one. Yes, because the tibia is, tibia is on the medial side. Tibia is the bigger one, the fibula is the smaller one. And then we have our carpals, which are in like the ankle, which then go into the metacarpals, which is the midfoot, and then our phalanges, which are our toes. Right? Frogs have a fused radius and ulna, which I find super cool. Fun! Yeah, we're not built the same as reptiles, so reptilic bones and amphibian bones are a little bit different than ours. Much thinner. When I was younger, did I want to be an art teacher? No. When I was younger, I wanted to be a game designer. I can remember tibia and fibula fine, but I always get the radius and ulna confused. The ulna is on the medial side. So when you have your arms in the anatomical position, the ulna is the one that's facing towards the inner side of your body. I have no clue why. I think of a cow when I think of the ulna. So then when I have the ulna, and then it's like a cow getting abducted, so it's like the radius around the cow. I couldn't tell you why I think of that, but that's how I think of it. What's the best job? I don't know. That's up to you. Game designer and teacher lose-lose situation? Jokes. But yeah, so we have a supportive girdle to a big upper bone to two smaller bones, the carpals and the metacarpals and phalanges, right? That's how our skeleton works. If we look at a horse skeleton, it's actually the exact same. If we have the horse skeleton over here, because we are all, we're all mammals. We're both mammals, right? they still have the cervical vertebrae, the thoracic vertebrae, the lumbars over here. The pelvis is right here, so this is their supportive pelvic bone. This is the ischium, if you want to know. When you sit down, and like if you ever sat in somebody's lap, or if like your parents were holding you at some point and they were like, you have a bony butt, that bone is your ischium. It's your sitting bone. So the pelvic bone, right? Same thing. We also have our scapula and our acromion process, the clavicle. This is our supportive girdle, which goes down into the humerus, which is actually all the way up here. The ulna and radius, which are right here. These are actually a horse's metacarpals, right here. And then we have these, which is, it's their phalange, quote unquote, but they have it a bit different. They have the long pastern, short pastern, and coffin bone. So we have phalanges, they have these because they have hooves. But this is why, the neck looks like a giraffe. Well, that's funny because a giraffe's cervical vertebrae is just very long, that's all. But like ages ago when I did the mammal stream, I talked about unguligrades, plantigrades, digitigrades, right? The reason we are plantigrades is because our carpals, our metacarpals lie flat on the ground. Right? Our metacarpals and our carpals lie flat on the ground. By comparison to the horse, its metacarpals are up here. That's still part of its leg. It's all the way back up there. And it can bend at the metacarpal, right? Because their carpals are their knee. Our carpals are our wrists, right? Our wrists, our ankles. Their carpals are their knees. So their bones are farther back into their body. They're actually standing on their nails. If we were to translate that, right, we have an arm. If we just translated this as if it was like a human arm, they're standing like this on a single finger, and a hoof is a giant nail. That's how you think of it. Because this right here is like their wrist, quote unquote, or their ankle. The carpus, their carpals, well, technically this is their carpals, right? The elbow is right here, really, because the humerus is right here, and then this is the radius and ulna. So that's how you see. That's how a horse's arm structure works. Let me actually color code this. So if this is up here, that's this. And then if we just keep that the same. Actually, no, let's make that orange. So if we have this part, it's orange right here. That's this. And then our carpals, which are this. And then we have our metacarpals, which are this. And then this, which is like our finger. That's how you think of it. No wonder it's important for their poos to be maintained. Yes! Yeah, so, yes, exactly. So, a hoof is made of keratin, just like how our nails are made of keratin. We can clip our nails just fine, doesn't feel any pain. It's just the same as them, right? It's just like, it's kind of just like if you were clipping their nails. That's basically what it feels like if you were to, like, clip a horse's hooves a little bit, right? Because you do need to clip horses' hooves. You need to maintain them well. So it's basically, you're basically just giving a horse a manicure. So horse anatomy. So horse and humans are both mammals. Horses and humans are both mammals, right? I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that. So we share very, very similar structures. We're not that different. It's just like I was explaining, right? All have the same shoulder girdle. We all have the same kind of general structure for our appendicular skeleton, right? So we all share very, very similar structures. And it makes it far easier to turn us into centaurs because our structures are already so similar. So let's talk about how we would actually do that. Now that we've gone over the science-y stuff that we need. It's actually really, really easy. It's not that crazy. So how do we connect this? Fawns are even easier than a centaur. You're basically just replacing the pelvic girdle. And you're not really changing anything. If you took a person and then took the hind legs of a goat, you're done. That's it. And they can connect perfectly fine because, again, it is still a pelvic bone. 2 rib cages, you're correct. So, how do we connect this? What we're going to do is I pointed out the vertebrae for you, right? Notice that a human has a vertebrae, so does a horse. So the horse's vertebrae, right here, this one right here is the cervical vertebrae. The cervical vertebrae up here on a human is right here. But really, the entire vertebrae is made up, vertebral bodies are like puzzle pieces. They will fit into each other. If you have like the vertebral body, which is kind of up from the top, is kind of like shaped almost like this. It's like a weird spaceship. From the side, it'll be the vertebral spines. Your vertebral spines will connect together because you will have fossa on the sides of them that do this fun jazz, right? They'll do that. And they'll like connect to each other like this and they'll slide. And then you have like nerves between here and cartilage that makes sure that the bones don't actually touch each other, right? But these all fit together. These will all fit together like puzzle pieces. So we start with the cervical, then we go to the thoracic, then we go to the lumbar. Right here is where then we would connect it to the coccyx vertebrae? No, the coccyx is down here. This is the... No, hang on. Give me a second. No. The sacrum. This is the sacrum. So the lumbar would connect to the sacrum down here. Alright? But that's not really going to work when it's a centaur, right? We want to get rid of these human legs. So let's cut it off here. We cut it off at the lumbar. And then the lumbar can connect to a horse's thoracic. So let me repeat that again. We have all of our skeleton going on here, our big vertebrae. We have our cervical, our thoracic, and our lumbar. Those are the important ones that we need. We're going to get rid of the entire pelvic girdle, which includes the sacrum and the coccyx vertebrae. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our lumbar and just connect it directly onto the horse's thoracic vertebrae, which starts right here. Right, it starts at like right here. This is your L1. Your L1 can then just connect into the humans. And then you'll have your rib cage up here and the rest of it like this. So now the horse's shoulder girdle will be replacing our pelvic girdle. So it's almost like we have 2 shoulder girdles in a weird way. So connect. Does that mean 2 sets of lungs? Up to you. I see, when I cover anatomy, I literally don't care about anything else other than the stuff that's important when it comes to topical things. Like, if you wanted to think about the actual scientific, like, anatomical stuff of, like, our organ structures, like our respiratory system, if you wanted to come up with our respiratory system, that's up to you. Not on my watch. I'm not gonna look up the cardiovascular system. I'm not gonna go for the respiratory. I'm not gonna go for the nervous system. It's not important if I'm drawing. So, like, if I was to actually design like a monster, you can go for it. So connect thoracic. Vertebrae of horse to human. Lumbar. Are they technically insects? No. Insects have an exoskeleton. They don't have skeletons like we do. Does that mean it can eat both plants and meat? We can kind of already do that. I don't... We are omnivorous. Shoulder replaces our pelvis. Our pelvic girdle. Sorry, I gotta check the music every once in a while. Horse shoulder girdle replaces our pelvic girdle. So what does this look like? So if I was to very, very quickly draw this, not really worrying about that, if we have our like this, we have our rib cage like this. Scapula. And then our lumbar, which then connects to the horse's thoracic. So our horse has their scapula right here, rib cage, shoulder girdle. So it would be like this. Boy, that's completely black. Penumbra. Penumbra and onyx. Alright, so it's like that. And then we have our vertebral spine here. And their tailbone continues. By comparison to ours, that ends. And we have our shoulder girdle. We have the... what's it called? Radius and ulna, the femur, carpals, metacarpals, phalanges. Okay, it's just like that. I'm talking about horse anatomy, and I see so many people asking, can you do sheep? Can you do bulls? Can you do rams? Fun fact, they're all the same. We are all mammals. There is no difference. So we all have these shoulder girdles. We all have these pelvic girdles. You can do this with a cat. You can do this with a dog. You can do this with, like, a deer. You can do this with, like, all mammals. It will be literally the exact same. There is no difference. It starts to get more complicated when you get into stuff like birds and fish and things like that. It gets even more complicated when you move into bugs, because there is no correct way to teach that. We do not have the same skeletons at all, so instead, you just whiff it and pretend that it looks okay. And that's how I live. That's kind of how I dig with that. But yeah, goats, deer, anything with hooves, it will be, like, the exact same. You could argue that cats and dogs might be a little different because of, like, their appendicular skeleton, but it'll be approximately the same regardless. Whales are mammals. It'll work, yeah. It'll still have, like, those whole things. Seals and dolphins, also mammals. It will still work. They have shoulder girdles. Equines and mammals. Equines are mammals. But yes, they connect there. That is the main thing that you'll want to know. And then once you understand that, then it becomes a topical thing, right? What does it look like on top? And the thing that some people do that I personally really like to stylize, even though we've gotten rid of the pelvic girdle, some people replace the pelvic girdle. We have on the top of our pelvis, right here, this is called our iliac crest. If you were to touch the top of your hips, you'll feel it. It's this hard edge kind of at the top of your hips. That's your iliac crest poking out. More muscular people, if you've ever seen somebody draw like a torso, and more muscular torso, and they do this thing, where it kind of, men call it their deep V, I've learned. These kind of bridging things, this is the top of your iliac crest poking out. I know that the muscle there is the external obliques? Something obliques. Your obliques. That's what these fun things are, but it's also placed at the top of the pelvic girdle. So what a lot of people do if they're stylizing a centaur is they will still add in those, like, obliques. So if we've got, like, this going on, got kind of a person here, I'll still add, like, the external obliques. But, like, now it's the shoulder girdle, but we'll still add them as if they're, like, mimicking the obliques that come down onto this person like this. Oh, I tried drawing a mined horse yesterday and I did subpar, so we'll be using references today. So this is referenceless, but you see, like, adding the iliac crests in for flavor. Right, so the iliac crests, even though they're technically not really there, we can pretend that they are, even though it's the scapular bone there. The beautiful thing about fantasy creatures is that literally all of this anatomy is, like, scuffed to be as close as possible, but it'll never be perfect. It's why a lot of, like, bird people are like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. A lot of it is scuffed. Like, they're like, oh, a bird's anatomy is built like this, so it won't work if you put it here. Of course it won't work. We weren't built to have wings. So a lot of times people just tend to scuff wings, or they tend to scuff centaurs or anything like that as much as they can. Alright. Have I ever had boba? We have boba literally everywhere here. Where I live. There's just boba constantly everywhere. Would a centaur with longer arms be plausible? Since they're taller, it would make sense for them to have longer arms to get stuff on the ground. I wonder if it would mess things up with them. Aesthetically, a lot of people just keep their arms the exact same as a human. If you were to have, like, because these are a horse's arms, right? Arms, quote unquote. They're certainly longer than a human's arms because, you know, they have to walk like this. So what a lot of people do is, like, rather than, like, have the arms go all the way down here, what they do is they have it so it's, like, if a person wants to grab something off the ground, they have it so they buckle down like this. And then they grab them. Like that. Poke is, like, my favorite lunch food. I love poke bowl. Yeah, no worries. Alright, but that is going to be the lesson-y portion. Nice, not too long this time. That's going to be the lesson-y portion of today. A lot of bones, a lot of going through that sort of fun jazz. So let's get to the illustrative portion. Y'all voted for an Arabian horse, which I think is hilarious because I'm pretty sure people voted for the Arabian horse because the Arabian horse is like a funky, like, weird looking horse, but the reason it looks weird is because of its face, and we're getting rid of its face. So the body just looks like a standard horse. So I'm like... Easy way to make hair? There are lots of hair videos on the channel. I'm pretty sure we've got like 4. Yeah, Arabian. I literally said I'm not going to be going over the organs of a horse. Like, stop asking. I'm not familiar enough with it. I think the best way that somebody explained what an Arabian horse looks like is like if the soul of a small Victorian child was trapped in a horse. And I think that I took that to heart when I first saw it. Arabian horses just have a bit longer legs. I don't know. For me, it's like all I see that's different about Arabian horses compared to other horses is that their faces are funkier. And a little bit thinner too. I'm not a horse expert, y'all. I love it when we do a stream and it's like, because the thing is that I am an illustrator, I'm not a scientist. So it's like, how I learn a lot of sciencey things, my biology, is through art and art alone. So I'm not an expert by any means on a lot of things. Just looks like a horse, right? Like, I don't... This is why I wanted to do the Frisian, because the Frisian had, like, really beautiful, like, hair. And I was like, I could really incorporate that. I could still work with the Arabian, but... Okay. Obviously, you know everything about everything you've ever drawn. Yeah, 100%. Sorry, I'm feeling a little mean today. I don't know why. deer body centaur would be cool. We did that a while ago. That was for a lighting stream, and I felt like drawing a deer boy for some reason. I couldn't tell you why. Strongest of the Arabian face. I was actually gonna go for Arabian culture. Like, that's what I kind of wanted to capture with this design. Allergies summon evil, yeah, for real. I think I've just been really tired this week. I apologize. I've basically just been working nonstop this whole week, so I'm just like, I'm really tired. Can I pet the centaur? I don't know. I don't know if she'd be okay with that. A moose centaur. I am personally a fan of, like, whenever people have centaurs or characters like that have, like, antlers, because I just really like antlers. Of all, like, the animal accessories that I have, antlers is not one of them, and, like, I so want a pair of antlers. Have I read Hot Blood? No. Oops. I'm trying to figure out how I want this composition to be. I didn't plan this out at all. I think my favorite quote-unquote centaur that I've done before is like a dragon centaur. That was kind of fun. I did it for high school. I'd used like a Chinese dragon. No, because this is like the shoulder muscle that goes down into the... Yeah, there we go. Back of my head. Why don't you plan out your streams? Is it easier on you? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I feel like I did plan out this one. I was like, okay, what sections do I have to teach? What do I do? Because like I find that like if I make a whole lesson plan, that takes up a lot of time, like time that I just don't have. So a lot of the times I do, like, especially if it's like a chiller stream or something I know I can do off the top of my head, then I don't plan that much. Something like this, I planned a little bit more for. I definitely planned for, if anybody was there for those, if anybody remembers the actual, like, the mammal streams or, like, the animal streams, I planned those like crazy. I had proper lesson plans and anatomy charts and things I wanted to go over, for those. But like the monster stream was definitely off the top of my head. I had like a little bit written down, but not too much. Great though, love how natural and fluid everything feels, and you've got bullet points for topics to check through. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I have it written off to the side, a lot of the times I just have it like in the back of my brain. Like, it's not like I'm really thinking too much about it. But yeah, no, I am an extremely busy person, so sometimes I just straight up don't have the time to do a lot of things. It annoys my partner how much I work. Do I do other big art-related things outside of Wing Canvas? For a while, I did, like, I haven't updated it in ages, but I am the artist for Say Hello Grace on Webtoon. The artist and writer. So if you know about that, that's me. I do design work for a D&D channel. Sometimes I do YouTube thumbnails and other assets for streamers and other YouTube channels, stuff like that. Like I just did the subathon banner for my partner, and then I did a thumbnail for another friend of mine, for a YouTube channel video, and then I did a PNG tuber for a friend of a friend. I love that we have a Grayson command. I haven't uploaded on for Grayson since like January. Yeah, because my partner's a Twitch streamer, so he's actually streaming right now. What D&D channel? I actually can't say the name of it, because technically it's not PG-13. It's not Crit Roll. But it's not that hard to find. I'll say that. Link, please, you can find it. I've also been instructed to say that I'm not allowed to give you the link to it. Because it's not attached to this channel. It's not. It's a completely different company. Oops. Any keyword hints? Look through my Discord. That's about as much as I could say. Did my tablet just, like, stop? Did it decide to stop? That's great. That's fantastic. Let's reload that. Thank you, Wacom. Very cool. Yeah, look through my Discord. Don't mind me resetting the Wacom professional service. Favorite movie of 2022? I actually haven't watched too many this year. I think one of the better ones that I've watched is Nightmare Alley, Guillermo del Toro. That was a really good one. No? Still no? Okay, hang on, give me a second, y'all. Don't mind me as I reset my tablet. Hey now, come on, turn on. Turn back on. I love how you talk to the chat. I'd rather not just... I have a Wacom. I have a Wacom Cintiq. I'd rather treat y'all, like, really casually by comparison to... There we go. By comparison to trying to fake anything. I love my Wacom tablet. I have a Cintiq, or sorry, I have a companion hybrid. I really love this tablet, but I just... Sometimes it decides to die on me. But that's most tablets, though, I've learned. Where's my reference? There it is. Actually, I had more references over here. Use Procreate now? Yeah, I have a lot of friends who use Procreate. Is it weird drawing on a different surface than what the art appears on? I don't think so. I think I was, like, my first few tablets all were screenless. I also do work traditionally for universities, so... What am I being for Halloween? The lamb from Cult of the Lamb. I still need to sew the... what's it called? The shawl. The fleece. Hijabs are so pretty, they are. You're gonna be Wednesday? Oh, from the Addams Family? Nice. See Joppy? Yeah. Haven't seen a female centaur. You've never seen a female centaur? I've seen so many. A hijab. Hijab. Oh, sorry. I don't know if you heard that. Music cut out for me for a second. Where would the center of gravity be? Beats me. Where would it be on another centaur? Here's the thing with fantasy creatures, right? Is, like, a lot of people, when they work with fantasy creatures, a lot more say, like, meh, to things than you'd think. Like, if you wanted to make it as accurate as possible, obviously there are things that you can do to make it, like, ultra accurate, and you can go, like, oh, I can do this scientifically, I can do that scientifically, but, like, it's, when you look into it, it's actually amazing how perfectly a lot of things are built. And then you try and change it, and then like, at some point, suddenly something doesn't work anymore. And you're like, oh, well, I can't do that anymore. Because I've changed this. Centaur one really long back or two backs. The way that I see it is it's one really long back because it's like, I actually... You know, technically we have two thoracic vertebrae going on here, so I guess we could say we have two. Oh, if the Centaur bend down from the waist, would they fall? I don't know. Most people who I've seen, like, drawing centaurs bending down is, like, the first two, like, legs kind of, like, buckle a little bit. Referencing is not copying. Very true. A lot of the times when people are working with reference, they are not copying it completely. They're just taking inspiration. Or trying to capture a similar energy. You know what I hate? I hate when people are like, you stole this pose. How do you steal a pose? How do you do that? Hmm? Two people can sit cross-legged, you know. You gotta know what you're drawing or it looks wrong, yeah. I feel like tracing is copying. Referencing is an idea. Yeah. Here's the thing, is that sometimes a lot of professional artists, a lot more professional artists trace than you think. It's just that they are the ones who took the reference image, right? For anybody who actually did read my webcomic at some point, every single time that I drew Ghoul Raphael, his skull was traced. I just so happened to own that skull. So, like, I would take a picture of the skull in a certain angle and trace it. If you took the photo, if you decided to do that, like, that's fine. Like, if you're the one who took the reference, if you're the one who created the reference, and you want to trace that, go for it. A lot of artists do that. It's a lot faster. If you're tracing somebody else's work, yes, it's good for practice, but you should never claim it as your own. Unless you have the sole ownership to everything that you are using, then you should never say that it is all yours, you know? If you traced a photo that you took, go do it up, dude. I need you to know that if I ever get into NFTs, consider me dead. What if you trace a real photo but make it cartoonish? If you did not take the photo, then you cannot claim it as your own. You can say that it's a study. You can say that you can ask the person who did the photo for reference rights, stuff like that. A big nose is an objective biological improvement, true. I love big nose designs. Like, it's like, I love the giant triangular nose with like a big bridge of the nose. I think it's great. Because you see a lot of like button noses. You see a lot of people drawing noses like this. I also very much like the broken bridge of the nose. Like that kind of jazz. I tend to give this for like a lot of my larger characters. Pictures public domain. See, when it's public domain, it's fine. That's why a lot of people, when they like illustrate something, then it's like, that's public domain. Sometimes they'll trace it, they'll do that sort of thing, but they will say where they got the image from. Like, they'll never be like, oh, this is mine now, and it's like, there's nothing, like, I didn't reference anything, I didn't use anything. Like, they'll still say, like, oh, this is referenced or traced from a stock image. That sort of thing. Especially when you see, like, people who trace, like, masterworks. Like, old masterworks. Yeah, citing sources is good in any context. Exactly, exactly. So you should. Oh dear. Something dropped in the room over. Did y'all hear that? I just heard a loud thud. the easiest rule to follow is that if you made it, it's yours. If you didn't make it, it's not yours. Exactly. Exactly. Like tracing things and calling them for fun. It's just a relaxing activity for me, not having to worry about a character design and all that. Never posted online, it came out as my own. Yeah, so a lot of people will trace for, like, studying. Like, if they want to trace, like, a photo, if they want to trace, like, somebody else's artwork to study, and, like, not post it anywhere, it's just there for you, that's totally fine. A lot of artists do that. Whatever. You just can't, like, claim it as something you've done. That's all. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar enough with Autodesk. I wouldn't know. Types of brushes? A textured brush. Try not to use anything that's too smooth for everything. I see a lot of people, a lot of artists will struggle with reference a lot, or like with texture a lot, and I find that working with a textured brush will help you get out of that. People often claim fair use as justification, but they need to research what that means and entails. Exactly. Exactly. Dang, a lot of people in today. Y'all really like centaurs. Yeah, you'll never get in trouble for citing, but you can definitely get in trouble for not doing it. That's something that, like, every English professor says. What texture brushes do you suggest for light art and Medibang? Assuming something like the G-Pen or Turnipen. The G-Pen, yeah. I always use the G-Pen whenever I had to use Medibang. Centaurs are hard to draw and I need help with anatomy stuff, so this helps a lot. Yeah, no problem. Oh my god. I should like centaurs. I'm writing a book where the main characters are deer centaurs. Yeah. Hey man, writing Grayson gave me a love for drawing wings, so like, totally fine. Have I ever used Procreate? I have. I don't mind Procreate. I think it's a little too simple for me. I prefer big, crazy UIs, but like, it's a great, like, easy tool, I think. It's just a little too simple for my tastes. That hand is wrong. Have I used Krita? Yes. I have said how much I, like, I'm not a big fan of Krita. If you like Krita, again, totally fine. It's to each their own. I'm just not a big Krita person. I don't really like its UI. I don't like its shortcuts. Because they're all so different. Do I animate? No. My best friend's an animator. She's amazing. She animates for a few things. But you know, I'm not an animator. I in theory I can animate. And then I actually try and do it. It doesn't happen. Because I never finish. Oops. How long left of the stream? About 45 minutes. What's my favorite program that I use? I'm using it right now. I like Photoshop. Photoshop and CSP are both really, really good programs. crushing hard on the hijab centaur. Good. You should. That's the correct way to respond to pretty characters. Literally, like, my... like, now it's yassification, but for a while, whenever I draw, like, a character, if they slowly became integrated into my style, they, like, always got, like, 20 times prettier. So I called it Jessification, because that's just always what I did. Favorite animal? The fennec fox. How often do these streams take place? My streams take place every Friday, and then Iggy and Vanessa stream on Sundays. So if you want me, it's Fridays. Iggy and Vanessa are also amazing. They stream on Sundays. Branford's fox face. Nice. Fennec is really cute. Fennec is very cute, so I really like it. I have a Fennec fox character, Fennec fox boy, and I've had since I was like 14. That's why I'm biased. Same thing with like I have another character who's a leafy sea dragon. That's like my second favorite animal, just because of that. Moths and bees, valid, valid, good choice. I don't know why I feel like taking my time with this line work. Where can I read my comics? Exclamation point Grayson. I haven't updated Grayson in months. So like literally since January. So don't. I like cows. I also like cows. I literally have cow ear attachments on my headphones. Like the little avatar, the little PNG tuber, those headphones are real. Like they like that those attachments exist. Ferrets. One specific artwork that's your absolute favorite ever that really stands out to you? That's tough. Whoa, my whole layout changed. Sorry, I just noticed. Did you get smaller? What happened here? Oh, it's because the whole thing kind of messed up for a second. Okay, there we go. I was like, what happened to you? Not really. I think it changes a lot. I have one recently that I really liked. It was a commission piece. Does Photoshop cost anything? Oh boy, it is known as the most expensive art program, yeah. It is yearly about 170 if you get the photography plan. But yeah, I did a piece. I finished 2 yesterday. I've done a couple of those, so this one was really fun, which was for my partner's stream, which I had a lot of fun with. Like, this was a really fun piece. I do like how this one turned out. It's meant to be like a stream background thing. Which I finished 2 days ago. And then this one was yesterday. So this was a fun one too, that I also did in a couple hours. But yeah, these are like the more recent ones that I really enjoyed. There's one more that I really liked that I did recently. This one I also really like, because I just really like 3-point perspective. But this was a fun one that I did that I thought was really fun. Of like our D&D party. Like a more modern setting. This one was mine. That's my character, is Corn. I am indeed in the spooky spirit. I never leave the spooky spirit. What's usually the hardest step? Rough sketch, line art, coloring, shading. Cleanup. The final stage. Getting the final touches in there I always find is the toughest one, because 90% of digital art is final touches, so like knowing how to do those final touches can be kind of annoying. Little blue dragon. Yeah, that's Puddles. Puddles is my partner's dragon. I keep on talking about him, I'm so sorry. Yeah, the Pokemon Glory Forest. Yeah, he was like, can you draw me in the Glimwood Tangle? And then like, with my dog there and one of like the channel mascots, and I was like, sure. Just doing a good job. Yeah. It's Photoshop, right? Yes, Photoshop CC. Glimwood Tangle is so pretty, so true. How does Claire's layout differ from Photoshop? And could have used in the basic layout of Photoshop similar to me? Close same place. See, the layout is the same. It's the shortcut functions, I find. Like when I tried to, because I had a thing a while back where I had to use a bunch of different programs and rank them, or and rate them and see how they work. With every other program that I used, all the shortcuts, or like a vast majority of the shortcuts and the keyboard shortcuts were all the same. And then I moved on to Krita, and like half of them were different. More than half of them were different. I was like, what is going on? I found that it was just really, really different by comparison. High quality free art app. We usually use Medibang on the studio. A lot of people like Krita. Autodesk is pretty good. Fire Alpaca is really easy to pick up if you're just starting. Yeah, UI layout in every program is usually customizable, so you can always change your preference. Like, my CSP looks exactly like Photoshop. But, like, a lot of CSPs, what's it called? Shortcuts were exactly the same as Photoshop as well. Which is why I say that if Krita is your first program, because you can change shortcuts. You can definitely, like, rearrange them, make them something different, right? Totally fine. But if you start with Krita, then you won't have anything to compare it to, so you won't change that, right? So then you get to a different program, and then suddenly all the shortcuts are different. So it's like, that's why I say that Krita's like a big learning curve. Or moving off of Krita is a big learning curve if you ever decide to. Yeah. Procreate's not free, but it's just a one-time purchase. It's super, super cheap. Procreate is ultra cheap. Samsung Tago is what I use. Android. Then get Autodesk Sketchbook. Autodesk Sketchbook is free. You won't have Procreate on an Android tablet, but you will have it on. You will have Procreate on all Apple products. I didn't like Ibis either. Last time I tried Ibis, it was very... I felt like Ibis was missing a lot. I felt like Ibis was missing a lot of functions that I like. Yeah, Procreate's like $10, something like that. It's pretty cheap. Only ever use Procreate, Ibis, Paint, and Krita, yeah. I've gone on Clip and changed the hotkeys. I'm gonna love Photoshop. You don't have to switch to Photoshop. Like, here's the thing, right? Is that Photoshop is quote-unquote industry standard, but CSP is kind of too now. I've recently moved from Krita onto Medibang. Oh boy, it's hard. Yeah, it's very different because Krita is ultra different than everything. Whoever says they feel bad, I'm not repeating what that message says, but if you feel bad about it, don't feel bad about it. Don't. They're massive corporations, you should never feel bad. Friend keeps trying to get me to switch to it. Procreate will always be my comfort zone. Yeah, no, that's true. It's like a lot of people, I know a few professional artists who prefer, like, will, like, stay with Krita. Like, they never switch off of it. In that case. Yeah, no. Here I go mentioning it, man. My partner does that. He is a professional content creator, so don't worry about it. I used to do that the longest time. I don't really use any shortcuts in Krita. Is that good? Not really. Usually you'll want to use your keyboard shortcuts as much as possible. It makes you a lot faster. Either your keyboard shortcuts or program your tablet buttons into a shortcut. Like, I have a bunch of my tablet buttons are all programmed to be like undo and save and stuff like that. Like, if you see it up at the top left, like those, that's me pressing the buttons on my tablet. Feel the pain of doing the line over and over again? Yeah, no. It's okay. It's like, I'm trying to make these lines a little bit messier. I don't want them to be too clean. I want to give them a bit of texture. I just have a phone. That's okay. A lot of people just have phones. Sorry, I'm trying to check all my notifications because I am getting annoyed. Undo hotkeys forever change me, and I'll plug in the tablet while writing just so I can undo without touching the mouse. Exactly. Yeah, no, it's very nice. Like, I have a pan and scroll, I have a zoom in. You can round up how to do line thickness. It's a control of the wrist. You gotta have really good pressure control. Get used to it. Maybe change your pen settings if you don't like them, so on and so forth. Double up lines. You notice that I really like to do that. That's like a stylistic choice, though. This restarted correctly, right? It did. Brilliant. In pressure control and IBIS, you should automatically have it. I was wondering why everybody was calling somebody Crow, and then I realized, oh, there's somebody else named Crow. I was like, he's not here. An Apple Pencil because it broke. We tried getting a stylus, but it also broke, and I just used my fingers. How did it break so quickly? You gotta be more gentle with your products. Just get a used one for cheap. Could switch off for those same reasons. What I'm learning on, so don't worry. So I worry about that, but at the end I enjoy using it. It keeps me drawing. Yeah, for sure. It's literally up to you, whatever you want to use. Like, it's not like anybody's gonna force it. Well, unless if you work for a specific company that needs it, specific file types. But, like, it's not like anybody's gonna force you to work with something different. But yeah, it is definitely, like, it's tough to switch to something else if you ever feel the need arise. Because, of course, Krita and, like, any free program, they're free. They'll have their limitations, right? It's always the paid programs that have more things on them, right? Good stylus randomly disappeared one day and the Apple Pencil did break. Gotta handle your stuff more. You gotta take care of your stuff better, man. A digital pencil, but since I draw on my phone, it's just a small screen that I use my fingers. Yeah. Yeah, some people draw with their fingers. Very tough, but it is possible. Actually, if that's there, then this also should be. Canvas and the basic round brush, not advanced enough for anything else. Eventually you'll get into. I used nothing but the basic round brush until I was like 16, so don't worry about it. Eventually, like now I have like an arsenal of brushes that I use all the time, but like definitely before then I just stuck with the basic round. You'll find that once you get off it though, you'll never be able to go back. Like it just feels so clunky after a point. How long is left? 29 minutes, approximately. Give or take. Sorry that I keep on sniffling as well. My allergies are not okay at the moment. Allergies the worst they are. I'm dying a little bit. Digital art pen rusted out for no good reason. James had experienced last 20 years. We have less than a year. Yeah. A Pegasus Centaur? You'd have to figure out how to attach the... like how that anatomy works on a Pegasus, first of all? Because a bird's shoulder girdle is, supports their wings. Ours supports arms, so you'll just have to figure out how the shoulder girdle will attach to like almost like, or well, how you'll have like almost a second acromion process, and that's up to you to figure out. I'm taking no drawing requests at this time. There is not enough time. I'm trying to finish this. Did I do a lesson part? I did. We already did the lesson portion of all the bony structures, and we talked about different bones and how the skeletons would connect, that sort of thing. So we've already done the lesson-y portion, yes. Don't go to the US South in the spring of pollen blizzards. It's okay, I'll just take all of my allergy meds all the time. Yeah, it's not much better here. My mother loves gardening, so we've got pollen here all the time. Pink and brown is always such a good combination. It's one of my favorite color combos. The cow that creates strawberry milk, yeah. How to make the color stay inside the lines? So what I did is I selected everything and then like inverse the selection column and then like paint bucketed it in. And now I just have the alpha lock turned on, so, or the transparency lock on other programs. So if I have it off, I can color outside the lines. If I have it on, I can't go outside because it's protecting the alphas of the illustration. People layer plain colors like you did. Yeah. It's depending on who you ask or who's working. Some people will create a different layer for every new color they have. I think that is the most unnecessary thing I've ever seen, so I never do that. But some people do that, and they like to make different layers for different colors. Planning on shading this? Yeah. I got time. I worked with brown line work as well this time, if you didn't notice. I think that brown line work gives everything a softer look. That's kind of what I wanted for this. How do I pick up my palette? What do you mean? Like, how do I pick my colors? Off the top of my head. Unfortunately, that is the only answer I can give you because that is literally what I did. Where do I get my inspiration? You come up with them or you take suggestions? Like for general illustration or for these streams? Because I have two different answers depending on how that answer is answered. But depending on how that question is answered. Sheesh. General? Okay, so in general, I will usually start with like a topic. Like if I have to design for somebody, then they'll give me the general topic. Or if I'm just doing it for myself, then I have to come up with it on my own. And then I think, okay, what other things can I relate to this, right? I'm like, so say if I wanted to design a mech. Say if I'm like, okay, I want to design this mech. How do I work with this? And then, so I'll think about it. I'm like, okay, well, when I think of mechs, I think of armor. When I think of armor, I think of bugs. I'm like, okay, let's go and find some bugs to reference. I always find that the best references have nothing to do with the initial concept. So if you are going to be designing armor and then you look up nothing but armor, you're already setting yourself up for failure. It's a lot better if you branch out your inspirations rather than trying to stay put in one section, right? So I really like referencing... sorry, I need to look up the Arabian horse again. I very much like referencing, like, bugs and animals and appliances and stuff like that. And then I think of cultures, and I'm like, okay, what cultures should I reference? I literally looked up Arabian fashion for this, and I saw a lot of hijab, so I was like, alright, let's do that. So let's make a hijabi centaur. A lot of, like, my earlier design concepts were very inspired by ancient Mayan architecture. So I have a lot of that going on in a lot of my earlier stuff, too. History is a great place to get inspiration from. My old pre-production professor, he had a really good piece of advice. He was like, no artist is more skilled than Mother Nature. So it's like you're better off referencing, like, actual nature and stuff like that. But yeah, I try to get inspiration from absolutely everywhere. Armor, you think of Scorpion? Yeah. I've referenced a Scorpion. Actually, I made one of our assignments for my old college. We had to... What's it called? We had to make, like, an invention. We had to make a new invention. It could be whatever we wanted as long as it was new and nobody else knew, like, had a thing that was like it. And I was like, I wanted to make a teapot. That was, like, the number one thing. I was like, I want to make a teapot. And what I thought of was, like, what if there was, like, a teapot or, like a hot plate that kept your tea hot all the time? And I was like, okay, well, what else can I work with that? And then my brain was like, Scorpion. And I was like, why? And my brain was like, that'd be cool shape language, my guy. So, my teapot, it was a hot plate where its function was, like, its body was a similar shape to, like, a scorpion's body. And the tail was like a hook, and it would hook onto the top of the teapot. And it would, like, pour out tea for you with the teapot thing. Coming up with an idea to draw is, like, the hardest thing for me. You just gotta find stuff that inspires you. Find stuff that makes you happy. A lot of my friends, like when we're in, like, Discord calls, you'll, like, I'll have, like, doodle requests on, and whenever, like, I am, like, my friends will request stuff if I have nothing on the brain, but if I have stuff that I want to doodle, like, you'll always be able to tell what's inspiring me at that moment, because, like, I will just draw it over and over and over for, like, my doodles. Can we see it? Yeah, if I can find it. Because it was an old one. Into the fair, weapon design. Oh, dystopian. Weapon, silhouette. Alright, doesn't look like I have it on me right now, unfortunately. What's this? No, this is just a small assessment. I do have a motorcycle that I made out of a tree. There's this one. That was fun. This assignment is what taught me that I really liked rendering out wood. I really liked lining wood. I think that's what this assignment taught me. Yeah, 2020. Look at that. But yeah, this is what taught me that I liked rendering out wood. But we had to draw a vehicle. You had to draw a vehicle, and like all we were told was you need to make a vehicle. You need to make it cool. And I was like, all right. My solution for drawing things that I hate, like I hate drawing vehicles. So like my main thought was like, how am I gonna make this fun for myself? So I was like, you know what I do really like drawing though? Biological stuff. So I turned it into like this tree motorcycle, and that's how I was okay with it. Treecle, yeah. I did a few concepts for that class that I did kind of like. There was one that I did, it was like oh, not that class, but well, yes, that class, but there was other classes too that I did some concepts I really liked. There was one for our texturing class. We learned how to matte paint in that class, but we didn't really matte paint. We just were allowed to just paint. And one of the assignments is we just had to do like a concept mock-up art, like a background environment art thing. And that's what, I think that was like my intro to learning how to do environment art. And one of the things that I did was this, a piece that I called the Prophet. And it was like this giant creature that hung from the ceiling. And somebody was like exploring a cave and they found them in the back of the cave. That was a fun one. Oh yes, no, my favorite is also line art. I'm a big line artist. Love me a good line art. Some guys just really like drawing race cars, right? I feel like I've never liked drawing cars. Like, I hate drawing vehicles. They're just annoying. It's tedious. That's why I hate it. It's because it's tedious. It's not even like, and it's also like one of those things that I just haven't been able to get used to. Like, I always have to pull up so many references, and because I'm just like, so I just hate it. Our process, I usually prefer base color, just sketching, yeah. I also very much like sketching and doodling. It's what 90%, like I say that I draw every day, and I do, but 90% of my art that I draw every day is just doodles. Like, it's 99% doodling. Like drawing cars. That's totally fine if you like drawing cars. I just don't. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. It's like how I love drawing hands. I love drawing feet. I love drawing perspective. A lot of what I love drawing is stuff that most artists hate drawing. So, like, I get it. I think vehicles are the only thing that, like, the vehicles are the only thing that I don't like drawing. I'm a fan of drawing everything except for that. I welcome challenge, but to me, like, cars don't feel like a challenge, it feels like a hassle. I guess that's why I'm like, I don't really like drawing vehicles. Sketch on paper, better line art on digital. Valid, yeah. I feel like I'm fine. I've gotten used to both, so I'm just like, it's all whatever to me. But yeah, no, I totally get that. Oops. I hate trying vehicles too, but I don't really have a reason. Yeah, you don't need... Oh my god. You don't really need a reason. You can just not like something. That's fine. Emotions are valid. Started drawing objects, building vehicles, they were in a way easier than actual animals and characters. Now it's like the opposite. I've always been a character artist. I don't think I've ever... Like, I started with a lot of animals. I started with a lot of video game characters. Like, I am, like, character heavy. That is, like, mostly what I do. I love backgrounds, though. So, like, I do want to get into more background work. Background and cleanup work. I think it looks like a lot of fun. It would be so fun to be a cleanup artist. Just do nothing but line art. Like, perspective research. Seems like so much fun. Am I okay? Debatable. A lot of artists don't allow mecha technical stuff for commissions. The only reason I don't, I also don't allow mecha for my commissions. Literally the only reason is because I don't trust myself with that design. It's, I find that I'm very inexperienced with mecha. I love it. There's nothing wrong with it. I very much love drawing mecha and robots. But I straight up just don't trust myself with the design process because I'm not experienced enough with it. So I'd rather not take a commission for it, especially if they want me to design something, because I've done a few character design commissions as well, and they're like, I'll do all monster designs, like, I'm so down for monsters, I'm so down for characters and monsters and everything like that, but, like, I just don't trust myself with mechs, so I'd rather not offer something that I know I might not be able to deliver on. Centaur AT-AT Walker. Could you give the 120 peeps watching an art school homework assignment like the ones you showed? Yeah, I can do that. If y'all want that? Let me give you like an art school quote-unquote homework project. Because I can do that. I just give you like a little takeaway if you want to try something. Military stuff? Yeah, that's fair. I can give y'all a little takeaway if you want that. Some guy did was one commission for steampunk robot. Yeah. Yeah, we want that. All right. So, because I do have to plan these a lot. Let me think for a second, because this is a development I didn't think I'd have to think about. I'll tag you if I post it. Nice. Okay. So... I want you guys, if you do it, obviously there's no need to, but I want you guys to design me a new creature, like an alien creature. I want you to design an alien. Some kind of like fauna. Not a person. I want you to design like a fauna. So like animals. If you were living on an alien planet, I want you to design like one animal from that. The catch is your inspiration is not allowed to be biological. If you're gonna have an inspiration for it, if you're gonna base it off of something, you are not allowed to use earthly animals. Use kitchen appliances, use desks, use drawing utensils, use anything like that. Anything that is not alive. So I want you to draw an alien for me, but you're not allowed to let your inspiration be biological. So it must be, man-made. Like Pokemon, almost. Where do we submit? If you want to, like, just post it online, you can tag me in the post, or if you want to post it on the Discord, don't tag me on Discord, but if you want to post it on the Discord and just say that it's from the stream, I'll try and pop in on the Wing Canvas server more often. Do plants count as biological? Yes. So plants are biological things. They are alive. So you're not allowed to take inspiration from biological things. Obviously, you're going to be making something biological, but let it not be inspired by a biological thing. Because you'll see a lot of, especially like Subnautica. Subnautica is very, very heavily inspired by our actual oceans. But somebody mentioned, like, Pokemon's a good example. You have stuff like Vanillish, Clink, Magnemite, Klefki, right? Those are inspired by inanimate objects. I want you to do the same. Do we have to? No. You're okay. So this is, somebody requested this. You literally don't have to do this. Like, if you want to, you totally can. But if you'd rather not do this, like, that's up to you. Like, I'm not gonna stop you. I'm not gonna force you to do anything. How am I gonna check? You know, I'm like, none of you are like my actual in-class students. Actually, some of you might be, but yeah, like, I'm not gonna check, obviously. It's all up to you. If you'd like to do it, go for it. If you'd rather not, that's totally fine. But that kind of, like, you have to do this, but it has to be, but the catch is this. That's a very university level assignment. My current assignment for uni, for, like, my illustrative course is, like, I have to design an album cover, and it has to be for an artist that I don't like. Like, that's, that's what I have to do. 8 minutes left. Rocks and water count as biological? No. Those are inanimate objects. You can have biological elements, something like, say, a light string snake. If that is your main inspiration, then no. Obviously, you like, our brains can only go so far. If you're gonna have something biological and have it inspired by something non-biological, you're gonna have biological elements in there. I just shouldn't be able to tell what specific animal you're referencing. Or I shouldn't be able to, like, I should, like, maybe I'm like, oh, there's serpentine elements in there. Oh, there's bug elements in there. Oh, there's so on and so forth, right? But I shouldn't be able to look at it and go, oh, yeah, that's the big-eared Townsend bat. Or, oh, yeah, that's very clearly, like, a panda, right? Again, this isn't graded. This is like a have fun kind of thing. If you want to do it, go for it. If you'd rather not, I'm not going to chase you because you're not my students. If you'd like me to give you feedback on your work in a more professional setting, exclamation point classes, we do offer them. Right now my classes are full, but we have many other instructors who do amazing work. What kind of class you teach? So my classes are full right now. But the other classes that are available are digital art mentorship. There's some painting classes. I believe there's some digital art spots left, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. I'm not admin. I don't keep a track of the I don't keep track of the attendance that well. Don't they cost money? Yeah. What, you think those classes are free? Keep in mind as well that I work for a studio. I'm not independent. Like, Wing Canvas is a studio. We're not just, like, we're a company. I'm not just an independent streamer. Like, we have a team of people who do this kind of stuff. I just so happen to be the one that you see the most. Or one of the most. Oh, this is all on the whoopsie doopsie. I was like, how come everything's going over top? I'm like, oh, it's the wrong layer, that's why.
Their head style so angular. Thank you. I'm a very big fan of geometry, so a lot of my designs and illustrations are very, very geometric. Welcome in, though, ICO. Individual who has been featured many times in the art submissions. How long are my classes booked? Probably till winter. And then that's when we'll re-roll, I suppose. You said my name right? Did I? Good. I'm glad. YouTube channel is basically a free class to me, at least. Yeah, no. That's why a lot of people like the YouTube channel. Oh my god. My back. My everything. How much are the classes? I actually don't know. I'm just the teacher. I'm not admin. I don't handle the bookings. You can find out with exclamation point classes. Yeah, that's the one. It'll give you, like, the full list, I think, of what we offer right now. Do keep in mind, though, my classes are fully booked. So if you wanted a class with me, it would either have to be a one-on-one, or it would have to be, you'd have to wait until winter. I believe Iggy's class still has a lot of spots. But yeah, no, they'll have a list of what is there, because we had to start a second mentorship class because mine was full. Parents wouldn't let me show my face, so I can't do lessons. It's literally not a requirement to have your webcam on. Most of my students have their webcams off. I usually have my webcam off. What's the soundtrack you got playing in the back? Look at the description. You'll be able to see the artist. Stevia Sphere. If you watch Game Grumps, same artist that's used in the 10-minute Power Hour. Her music's great. I also just generally really like vaporwave, so... How much is a one-on-one? Good question. I don't know these things. Yeah, again, that's another thing you should be able to find on the website, though. Yes, there is an animation class. That's not with me, though. I don't remember who teaches animation, actually. Is it still Yuri? I think so. But yeah, there is animation. Coloring in your lines is always a nice final step. Makes your work look 20 times better. Like, I mean, my lines were already colored, but now they're, like, colored in specific points. It makes the lights look a lot nicer. Oh boy, that's 6. Alright, give me a second. I'm almost done here. One-on-one class, I could do 1v1 classes, competitive. Want to see your avatar on the webcam? Nah, it's usually just me. See, to do colored lines on light, is that where it usually goes? It's a stylistic choice. You can kind of just do it wherever. I think that it just looks the nicest when it's on, like, areas of light, because then it, like, helps boost up the, what's it called? Helps boost up makes the lights look brighter. But okay, y'all, that is 6 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining. We've been talking about it for the last bit here, but if you'd like to learn more about the classes that we offer, because we are a studio, not just a YouTube channel, so if you'd like to check any of the classes that we offer, feel free to check them out, ! Classes. There are lots of lovely ones that are being offered over there, so be sure to check those out. This file that you see, the final illustration plus the lesson-y portion, both will be available on the Discord if you'd like to check out the Discord. Oh, I should have been doing, yeah. Check out the Discord, ! Discord, ! Socials, I think that's what it is. You'll be able to submit stuff for the weekly art submissions and just to show some work, hang out with art nerds, hang out with us, we'll be there. However, if you'd like my working files, you're gonna have to either join as a YouTube member or our Patreon. Join over there and you'll get monthly working files, 1 working file per month. There's also early access videos and class recordings and stuff like that. So if you'd like to check those out, be sure to check those out. But all right. I actually don't really know what's going on next week. So, shoot, let's see. Was the YouTube channel updated? None. I am uncertain. No, okay, so it wasn't. But I'm actually not too sure what we're doing next week. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be going off the spooky month stuff, so I don't know what's happening tomorrow. But tomorrow there will be a stream. At 12 p.m. EST, I think, or is it 11 a.m.? It's one or the other. Is when we'll be having those streams with us for an hour and a half. I believe it is Vanessa this week. I think it was Iggy last week, so I believe it's Vanessa this week. And then next week, we'll be back here 4 p.m. EST with me on the Friday. So thank you all so much for joining, and I'll see y'all next week. Next week's texture? Okay. Texture of what? I'm not sure. But alright, I will see y'all next week overall. Au revoir. Bye-bye.